Sam, Kuminga was like a hot name at the start of the G League bubble. And he was, I mean, I don't know how real the idea of him being the number one prospect was, but people were high on him. And so what's happened to kind of lessen that? Is that about the other guys being good, or is there something with Kuminga?
Yeah, I was on Ryan Russillo's podcast earlier this week, and I kind of relayed a story. I was talking to an odds maker, like someone who sets draft prop lines, probably in December or so, about what I think the lines should look like if I was handicapping the number one overall pick back in December. I said Cade Cunningham should be like minus 400, minus 500, like should be very, very high. You want to try and not try and dissuade picks on him. I said Jonathan Kuminga should be number 2 at that time because I thought the upside of him was pretty real. And I'd heard great reports coming out of Walnut Creek where the G League Ignite program was training. It just didn't happen in the G League this year. I mean, his defense was absolutely terrible. It was largely a question of effort a lot of the time, as opposed to actually being willing and to sit down and be in the right positions defensively. He was a really poor, just rotational defender off the ball, and he didn't shoot it. He shot like 29% from 3 or 25% from 3. So it just kind of fell off, and it was a very a swift drop from being thought of in the same class as some of these top 4 players to where he ends up falling to number 7 with Golden State.
He's a crazy athlete though. And he does seem to have, while the shooting wasn't there, and I don't know if the shooting's going to be there anytime soon, but he does seem to have a really good skill set for getting shots, right? Which is good. That's key. But knowing which shots to then get, that's kind of the next evolution of that. And then it's making those shots, right?
Yeah, totally. He has the kind of game to where he's going to be able to create shots. He can get to that, step back, pull up in the mid range pretty easily. But the question is he going to make them, right? Like that's kind of what it comes down to. And I think that I have some questions about that still. The upside is real because of his athleticism. The upside is real because he has all sorts of length and potential. I'm surprised they went this road, but they did make a ton of crazy player development hires this summer in Golden State and totally revamped that part of their coaching staff. So it's not a surprise because I knew that they were considering it, but it's to have both him and James Wiseman on this roster is going to be interesting.
I think to me, I think with evaluating a guy like that, it's so much about what has he done, not just in the G League, but before that. Because what did he play? 13 games in the G League bubble against pros, against guy in a very tough situation for a young kid like that to be in. And he showed flashes. I think the most interesting skill to me about him is for a guy his size with that much length, that much athleticism, he can really pass. And I like that about him. And I think, in the right situation with Golden State would be a situation where he doesn't have to do too much except make the right play and play defense a little, get Draymond on him a little bit, get that defensive tenacity up.
He's got a good teacher.
Yeah, and then the other thing is he could be on the move because Golden State could absolutely trade him, trade the number 14 pick, trade Wiseman. They could trade anything for an upgrade soon.
Can we put to bed the notion that Draymond's this great teacher? He was supposed to teach Jordan Bell. It didn't work out. They were 5th in defensive rating last year.
He taught Andre Iguodala, man.
Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre Jr.
Great. Draymond's great.
He's not great enough to make those dudes defend.
He made Andrew Wiggins defend last year.
Yeah,
right, but
he's
it's not
good.
We keep assuming that every time a guy gets drafted there, Draymond's going to take him under their wing and they're going to be these great defensive guys. It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't, guys.
Right, but also maybe comparing everybody to Jordan Bell's not a good idea either, right? Like maybe say, well, it didn't work with Jordan Bell, so we're not going to believe in it.
It's not like it's been that great with Wiseman, though, defensively. I still feel like he has ways to go and that stuff. And for the Warriors, no, but here's the thing, Zach. For the Warriors, when you're looking to contend right now, like those guys all want to contend, this isn't a pick that makes me, even with the guys you left out there, It isn't a pick that makes me go like, oh, you've got much better. You have a real chance in the Western Conference this year. Like I look at this and I'm just kind of going like, what, you guys are going to go through trying to develop him. This is 3 or 4 years from now where he's going to be something.
Well,
gotta trade him.
Well, no, I don't think you do. Like whatever that is, like there was no one unless they were going to trade up for Cade Cunningham, they weren't going to draft anybody that makes them a contender in the West. Like
no,
what's going to make them
like,
a contender in the West is Clay being Clay again. That's the only thing that's going to be there. Or you trade all these dudes for a superstar, like if Bradley Beal decides he wants to be available and in the Bay. But I think they took the best player available in Kuminga. Like,
but he's
and
not
I don't
a guy
think
that can give you minutes right now, though, right? Like, is he a guy you could? Sam, you tell me.
Kelly Oubre last year, like the bar is so low. The bar, like Kelly Oubre's not good.
All right, well, Sam, tell me right now though, like Moses Moody, is he a guy you could look at? Was Book Night a guy where you also need scoring? We're hoping Clay's going to be Clay, but you also need some scoring. We saw that was a big problem. Every time Steph was off the court, they couldn't make a bucket for the life of them because they were playing Kelly Oubre and those guys. Like, what are we going there with these? Like, what was there somebody else that you would have thought they could have picked that could give them immediate minutes?
There's a lot of overlap between what he does and what Andrew Wiggins does. And if you're not planning on moving Wiggins in a deal of any sort, and if you're planning on moving Wiggins in a deal for a star with Jonathan Kuminga, there is quite a bit of overlap there for teams looking to acquire both of those guys or for the Warriors looking to play. I thought that if they were looking for someone, and this is who I ended up mocking Franz Wagner there because his ability to pass, to potentially shoot, he's a little bit streaky right now, and to make defensive reads, I think it's going to allow him to get on the court just way earlier than Jonathan Kuminga. I think we're going to see a little bit of Santa Cruz this year for Kuminga, and that's fine. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world for him to develop his game, and I think there's still a lot of upside here. But I also think they probably could have gone with someone else if they wanted an early playing type of guy.